active in the illicit drug trade. He has also indicated that the murder charges he faces are linked to the illegal drug activity. Molefe is facing charges allegedly linked to the murders of popular musician Oupa Sefoka, known as DJ Sambodi, and DJ Vintus, whose real name was Hector Buthelezi. He has brought a formal bail application before the Alexandra Magistrates Court today. Khomotso Modise reports.
61-year-old Katiso KT Molefe entered the dock in a leather slumber jacket with a large fur hoodie and sat quietly as his legal representative, top lawyer advocate Michael Helens, made his case for bail. It's been widely speculated that the murders of DJ Sambodi and DJ Vintos were linked to the illicit drug trade. And today, the Alexandra Magistrates Court has heard this from the lead investigator. The investigating officer's affidavit was read by the state advocate, who cannot be named.
The analysis of the bank statement obtained through Section 205 subpoena showed that the applicant predominantly received cash deposit with no identifiable sources of these funds. This raises a strong suspicion.
The investigating officer also claims that after the DJs were murdered in March and November 2022, Molefe's co-accused, the alleged hitman, made large cash deposits into their bank accounts. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News at the Alexandra Magistrates Court.
The International Relations Department says it's conveyed firsthand to the Moroccan government its disapproval of how it recently received former President Jacob Zuma. Zuma travelled to the country last month, where he was received against a backdrop of South African national symbols. While in the country, Zuma extended the MK party's support for Morocco's ongoing occupation of Western Sahara, which flies in the face of government's official position. The department says the manner in which Zuma was received appeared to give the impression that it was a state-endorsed visit. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
Former President Jacob Zuma's visit to Morocco last month irked government and the ANC, which labelled him a sellout for flip-flopping on South Africa's official position that Western Sahara should be an independent state. The Department of International Relations says while it respects Morocco's right to invite and receive guests, it strongly protests against the use of South African national symbols for a meeting with an opposition party leader who is a non-state actor. Spokesperson Crispin Piri.
This characterization is inconsistent with established diplomatic protocol, as the participants did not represent the official positions or engagements of the South African state.
Piri says government's position has been conveyed to the Moroccan Foreign Affairs Minister Nasser Bourita, with whom Zuma also met. He says Zuma's meeting cannot be recognized as an official bilateral meeting, and the implications drawn from it are firmly rejected. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
As South Africa gears up for its national dialogue this month, some Johannesburg residents say the country needs action instead of expensive conversations. South Africa will convene the first national convention, which begins a process of hosting a countrywide people-led national dialogue process. But before that, 702 has hosted a people's dialogue today to hear what some of the citizens have to say about the state of the country. The concerns have ranged from corruption to poor service delivery.
Firstly, South Africa has no shortage of laws and policies and even commissions for fighting corruption. It's really a lack of political will. Corruption is not being defeated by new frameworks. It's thriving because of the absence of consequence.
Get more police on the ground and also to train them in a different way, to be custodians of law enforcement and love for people.
We shift our focus to this now. Police are investigating another shooting in Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape. 2 women were attacked yesterday, allegedly by someone known to them in Ngobozana village. This is the same area where 18 people were shot dead last year during a ceremony. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
Eastern Cape police say a gunman shot his 22-year-old pregnant former lover at a tavern and later went home and opened fire on his wife while she was asleep. The motive for the attack is unknown and the man is at large. Police spokesperson Nobuntu Gantana says both victims died from the gunshot wounds sustained in the attacks.
The motive for the killings remains unknown at this stage. Police are appealing to anyone with information on the suspects' whereabouts to contact Lusikisiki Detectives Head Colonel Siabulela Kufa at 082 302-5118.
Police are investigating 2 murder cases. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape.
And in Germany, more than 17,000 people have been told to evacuate their homes in the eastern German city of Dresden following a bomb find. Experts are now working on defusing the bomb, which was left over from World War II after it was discovered during clearance work for a collapsed bridge. The Corolla Bridge partially collapsed in the middle of the night in September last year. City authorities say the bomb was British-made and weighs 250 kilograms. Gold is trading at $3,365.46 an ounce. The rand is at 17.85 to the dollar, 23.72 to the pound, 20.67 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $68.76 a barrel.
Well, at this stage, if you're leaving Parktown, Mill Park area, heading towards Braamfontein, there's slow-moving traffic on Empire Road. This is between Barry Hertog and the M1. Also, if you're heading in and out of the Joburg CBD, expect some delays on Main Reef Road. This is between Production and Anderson, and also slow-moving traffic. That's in the Sandton area. Roadworks causing delays. M1 South between Marlborough and Collett.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 22 and 23 degrees. The top story in EWN, the lead investigator in the case involving Katiso Molefe, has told the court that the Sandton businessman is active in the illicit drug trade.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Gauteng's greatest awards with 702 and Yoko are back, celebrating local business, backed by you. Submit your nomination now on primediaplus.com.
You're with Relebogile Mabotja,
Live, streaming countrywide
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Eight minutes after 1 o'clock, welcome to 702 Afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja. On this Wednesday, the 6th of August, we're going to jump straight into the conversations for this show. I want to find out from you what you think is going wrong. Is it us as a community, as society, that we are failing our children when it comes to maths? There are two things that I really want to chat about in this. The fact that our maths Olympiad team had zero representation in terms of the black community specifically. What does that say? But also, pure maths has been dropped completely in over 400 schools. So what are we doing about it? And I really want to hear from all of you, particularly parents, and then later on, we'll get an expert to come in and speak not just about why maths creates certain opportunities, but which parts of the brain does maths stimulate? Why is mathematics critical for day-to-day life? So we'll have that conversation, but I want to hear from all of you parents. Are your children in schools that have dropped pure maths? Do you have children that are not interested in math? What do you think the challenge is? Where is the struggle? Why today? Why now? And what is the long-term impact going to be? We also then are going to have a quick conversation. Somebody won the 124 million Powerball jackpot. We're going to have a quick conversation with a representative from Ituba because somebody has won a lot of money and they don't know or they have not come forward. So we'll have that conversation. Then our finance feature, we're talking surviving financial ruin. Stian David will continue with us from our conversation last week, head of financial planning at advisory firm NMG Benefits. Then we have a masterclass on experience economy. What is that all about? We'll be joined by Greg Walsh, the CEO of G&G Productions, the Goosebumps company around the experience economy. Get in touch with us, 011 883 0702, SMS us 31702 tweet at Relebogile M at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 afternoons and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702 Afternoons
With Relebogile Mabotja.
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
The Powerball jackpot yesterday was 124 million rand. Guys, the way I found out I did not win is when the Ituba team reached out to say, hey, we don't know who the winner is, but somebody has won. And you guys know how I feel about a jackpot and people finding their monies. So we are joined by Michelle van Trotzenberg, who is the head of corporate affairs and marketing at Ituba, to chat to us. Michelle, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Lebo.
Michelle, I'm very concerned that I'm not the winner because I'm so sad that I'm not the winner. And I love that every time we do these live reads to say what the jackpot is. Can you actually share, when lost was it, more than 110?
Sure, with absolute pleasure. Look, the jackpot does escalate every now and then. It does continue to roll, and we do have winners. So it does take a while before it gets to this kind of sizable jackpots. And the last time we had actually this is our biggest jackpot that we've had this year for Powerball. Last week we had a Lotto winner of Lotto Plus One, over 30 million last week. So we have jackpots for multiple big games, and we do have winners, and that's the most exciting part. Last night, if you played on ABSA, then you would definitely be in it to win it. So the winner does come from ABSA, which is one of the banking platforms, and it was with a very, very small wager. They spent 37 rand and 50 cents, and last night after the jackpot, and they wake up this morning as multi-millionaires, 124 million, and then 602,697. So that's a lot of numbers that will be going into somebody's bank account very, very soon. So
in terms of the person not identifying themselves, maybe help us understand, because I've had people say to me and ask me, they say, Relebogile, if you play via your banking app, how will you know if you're one? And maybe you can help us. My understanding is that anything less than 50,000 Rand would go straight into your bank account. And if it's not 50,000 Rand, the bank would notify you. But this person's concern is, but what if I've blocked all unknown numbers? How would I know? Would they get a notification on their app? How would a person who bought via banking app know?
You're absolutely right. And we've had cases where winners have not come forward to claim, and they do. When they get a call from a bank, they think it might be for added value services, and they don't take the call. And then they've only got 365 days to claim their ticket. So in terms of the process, what happens is once the winner files are sent through to the banks do the recon, and they do send notifications to all winners over 250,000 Rand that they have a big win and they need to contact Ituba. So they are notified, and in addition, they are also contacted telephonically. And then, of course, we also encourage all of our participants, if they played the Lotto or the Powerball games, they need to go onto their banking apps or onto our website to go and check their winning numbers. And then we encourage people to also check their tickets, check and see if their numbers came through, because maybe you didn't win a big division win, you might have won one of the smaller divisions, so to claim their prizes. So that's the process. The banks will contact the winner. The winners would then come through to the Ituba offices. So you're right, we do have a under 50,000. It does go deposited directly into their accounts. We've actually extended that to 250,000. So if you've won any prizes under 250, it will be automatically deposited into your accounts. Any amount thereafter, you need to come and visit us at one of our offices or regional offices around the country.
So just to clarify, I see a lot of people asking, let me read the winning numbers in case you missed it. Maybe you have the jackpot or you are one of the individuals that got a smaller division. So Powerball numbers were 10, 32, 34, 40, 48, and the bonus number was 14. And those who played Powerball Plus, 1, 2, 7, 43, 45, and the bonus ball was 2. Now, there's a question, Michelle. Are these winnings going to be taxed?
Absolutely not. They are completely tax-free. So the amount that you win is the amount that gets deposited into your bank accounts.
Now, for you as Ituba, Is there a POPI issue with the bank saying, we know who this account holder is, that you need them to come forward themselves?
There is absolutely. So we don't know who the winner is until they physically come into our offices to claim the ticket. So, when you're doing a transaction of that nature, it literally comes through as a serial number. So we don't have any of the contact details. So the banks would have the first point of contact, and then once they've made contact with the winners, they will send the winner file back to us, and then the winner will have to come forward to claim. So at every point of time, the person that has won is completely anonymous. We don't share any of their detail. When they come through to our offices, we give them the opportunity to, if they want to share their identity, and as you can imagine, Level, most people don't. So we do try and get their story. Like last week, our winner's story was, it was a retired mom from Cape Town. Her daughter was using e-hailing and she wanted to buy her daughter a car. So those are the kind of stories we get from our winners. But we, at every point, we do keep the name of the person that's won anonymous.
Which I think in this day and age and the many stories we hear when people come into money, it is best. And then we know that once they come to the offices, and for those who aren't sure, we did do a masterclass on winning the lottery. You can head over to primemediaplus.com. It was a good couple of months ago, so we are quite au fait with the process. But just to triple check, it's not like the person comes there and then you say, give us the banking details and you put the money in. There is a process that happens.
Absolutely. It's a very thorough process. We do verifications. We offer all of our winners over 50,000 Rand financial as well as trauma, but good trauma counseling to make sure that they have the tools in order to be able to manage that kind of wealth that is in your bank accounts.
Now, if a person got it via their bank account, what are they bringing to the office? Because they might not have a physical ticket.
Well, they would have a physical ticket on their app, but they need to bring a copy of their identification as well as their residential address and a bank statement. So those are the three requirements that we need.
Somebody out there is a multi-millionaire. Michelle, thank you so much for chatting to us. I do hope the winner comes about, and I'll make sure that our producer stays in touch, even with their identity protected. We do hope it is a life-changing situation. Guys, look out and see. The bank does notify you, but check. It is an ABSA customer that has won 124,602,697. I don't even know how to read this number anymore. But Giboma, 124 million. Untaxed. Call us.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Mabotja.
Okay, so mathematics in our country. What is happening? And maybe those of you that work in education can guide us. Because in my time at school, there was no pure maths. We had higher grade and standard grade. And then there also was additional maths where you do statistics, probabilities, and that level. Those are the maths that I know and did up until matric. It was not even an option in my day for me personally to not take mathematics. I don't think my parents would have encouraged me to not take mathematics. I did take on 8 subjects, which is quite a load, but it was doable. And I was fortunate enough to be in that position. But for the parents who are finding themselves in a situation where your children don't have access to mathematics, maybe the issue is not the subject itself, but how it's being taught. But what are you seeing is being lost in this time where pure maths seems to be dying? And is there something to be said about the fact that our maths Olympiad team that went abroad and performed really well, not one black face was there, not one face of color was there. There were some white kids, some Asian kids, and you might be thinking, why are we making this about race? I don't think these issues are not connected. And I can't say how. There is something to be, because we know there are children who are exceptionally intelligent. I have not done Maths Olympiad in years, so I cannot even recall if you have to pay to be a part of it. What is it? What am I missing? Because I don't think it reflects the abilities. Maybe it is around accessibility. Hey? Let me know. Give us a call, 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
The special edition of the Clement Maniatella Show. This is the People's Dialogue.
I'm Lindiwe. Patriotism. You don't even feel it from the politicians. An example, Paul Mashatile's irresponsible response when the lotto was awarded. He's like, where are my friends and family supposed to do business? You can't respond like that.
Terry, we've spoken many times about the issue of race relations. Where are we sitting right now?
South Africa's not really interested in dealing with racism. In the white community, there's still that feeling that, oh my goodness, she's got a child that's black. Is he adopted? No. So how did you get him?
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Celebrate Women's Day in style with exclusive platinum or golden standing tickets to see Grammy Award-winning singers Anthony Hamilton and Joe Thomas. Enjoy complimentary seating, dedicated bar areas and restrooms, and the freedom to bring your own picnic blankets for a relaxed, unforgettable experience. Happening at the iconic DP World Wanderers Stadium in Sandton, they will be joined by South Africa's multi-award-winning singers, the incomparable Zonke, Sjava and Vusinova. Get your tickets now on CompuTicket or webtickets.co.za. Brought to you by Soulful Night, Vertex Events, and 702.
To live wealthier, you need to be able to grow your assets. At Standard Bank Private, you get a team of internationally acclaimed financial experts to advise you on local and global investment strategies. Plus, being with a leader in home loans, you can start expanding your property portfolio. So, come live wealthier with Africa's best private bank. Apply online at standardbank.co.za. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Zinzi, the Gen Z. Word on the street is you sold your car.
Yes, and you know I needed a glow up. Hashtag no hustle, no hassle.
So wait. The influencer got influenced by We Buy Cars.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And they came to me. They checked the car, they gave me an offer. Oh, and they paid me immediately. Easier than an Insta Live, without the weird DMs at 2 a.m.
I didn't understand half of the things you just said, but hey, We Buy Cars. Geared for the glow up, geared for you.
Hollywood Bets brings you another electrifying exclusive. Enjoy SA's first premium online poker experience when you dive into explosive new titles from Even Bet Gaming. Prepare to become a virtual pro when you unlock your all-access pass to entertainment and try Texas Hold'em, Omaha, 7-card stud, and lots more. Play your cards right and you could reel in exciting rewards. Ready to strike it rich? Play now for a chance to win it all. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Every business begins with heart, but it thrives with support. And no one backs Gauteng's dreamers and doers like 702, Yoko, and you. Gauteng's greatest awards with 702 and Yoko are back to recognize and celebrate the local entrepreneurs making life better. From your favorite coffee spot to the baker who knows your name. From the salon that raised generations to the bold newcomer raising the bar. Just think of the business that made you feel seen. Now's your chance to say, I see you. I see you. Go to primemediaplus.com to view the categories and make your nomination. Because this province isn't just the hub of business, it's the home of excellence. And excellence deserves your applause. Gauteng's greatest awards with 702, powered by Yoko. Let Yoko Counter fuel your business to greatness. Go to yoko.com to explore the new point of sale solution, saving hundreds of businesses time and money.
Spend your afternoon
with Relebogile Mabotja
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
25 minutes after 1 o'clock, and we are chatting about mathematics. What is happening with mathematics in the country? As it stands, as many as 464 public schools in South Africa have elected to stop offering pure maths. So it's not even about underperformance. It is non-existent. It is absent. And I need to hear from the parents. I want to understand from the educators. What do you see the implications being about this? And what is the reason, if any, do we see that the Maths Olympiad team, those are those that absolutely excel in mathematics, not one face of color? 011-883-0702 and the WhatsApp line 0727021702. And I know that there are a combination of issues. Teacher shortages, which shocks me because we also hear that teachers are terribly unemployed and struggling to get jobs. They're all going to Asia, to Korea for that. But what is the issue and what can we do? 011-883-0702, the WhatsApp line 0727021702. We have Koketso Moloko in Sandton. Hi, Koketso.
Yeah, hi, really. How are you?
Good, thanks. And you?
I'm fine, thanks. Yeah, I'm not an educator, right? But from what I've seen, especially being in the rural community, is that these schools, to preserve their pulse rate mark, they discourage a lot of these kids from doing math. So, for instance, like when kids are in grade 8 and 9, obviously at the end of grade 9, that's when they have to then switch to take pure math, and take things like science, like life science and physical science. So what often happens is that they get discouraged because these teachers are looking at it to say, how are we going to, get our high pulse mark? So let's say maybe the school's got like a 60% pulse rate, So they look at it from that perspective to say that, no, we want to preserve our 60% pulse rate mark. And then basically these children must take math literacy. So I think it's a failure really on the part of the educators and I'd say also the government officials, because it is something that if our government officials were very deliberate about almost doing like math camps and life science camps and physical science camps for kids in grade 8 and 9, they would make sure that these kids are actually proficient in these subjects. So by the time when they have to take pure maths, and then obviously life sciences and physical sciences in grade 10 and 11 and 12, they also feel adequately equipped to do that. They feel they have the confidence to face the things. So for me, I think I blame our education system, which is the people that are in charge of education in the various provinces, and also the educators, in the sense that this is why we have a situation where basically maths has now become feared. And for me, really, I worry because I just think to myself, to say in the BRICS formation, the Russians are pushing maths, the Indians are pushing maths, and they've got very innovative ways of doing it, right? The Chinese are pushing maths. So what does that make of South Africans? Are we to be almost like I hate to say it, like the consumers, where we don't innovate, we don't do any of this sort of technology stuff. Instead, we are the consumers of these things because we are not able to have the same people that can actually innovate and adapt, and make us generate these things and have this almost same economy. So it really, really has me worried about the future.
Can I ask you then, what is the part, because I will just imagine from what I would consider a privileged position, that if the school my child went to is saying we are removing maths, like as parents, we would need to gather together to say no. So what do you think the issue is? And I mean, obviously, maybe in rural schools, township schools, it's not that kind of a setup. You can maybe give us an insight as to where the parents' role fits in this picture.
Yeah, I think really the parents are also letting down their kids. And it's because a lot of the parents, even when you ask them, I mean, I know because, I work in the rural communities as a farmer, but a while back ago, my girlfriends and I decided to do almost like a community outreach using our NPO to try to do almost like a career expo there. And the biggest problem is that a lot of the parents don't even know what subjects their children are taking. So they don't even know, like, this child, yes, I'm telling you, like a real thing, where they don't know in grade 10 what subject this child is doing. So it also harks back to us as African people to say that we need to take the bull by the horns and be involved with our kids. We need to know in grade 8 what subjects is this child doing? How are they performing in those subjects? Where is their weakness? And then you need to take, measures to try to do something to assist the child or whatever. Because I honestly think there's nothing like a stupid child, really. Like, we just need a math teacher who's competent, who can teach you.
I'm with you completely. And even the children with learning disabilities, if you teach them the right way, they will thrive. Koketso, thank you so much for your call. I do see you, Celeste, waiting on the lines. I see your messages. We're going to give this as much time as possible. It's 1:30. Time for your latest Eyewitness News headlines. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Relebogile. Good afternoon. Justice Minister Mameloko Kubai has told Parliament that there are no cases of political influence against prosecutors and investigators. Kubai says there are sufficient checks and balances in place to prevent any potential influence in investigations by the Investigating Directorate Against Corruption. Kubai was responding to a written parliamentary question from the EFF regarding allegations of political influence in investigations that were made by KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. The lead investigator in the case involving Katiso Molefe has told the court that the Sandton businessman is active in the illicit drug trade. He has also indicated that the murder charges that he faces are linked to this drug activity. Molefe is facing charges for the murders of popular musician Opa Sefoka, known as DJ Sambodi, as well as DJ Vintos, whose real name was Hector Buthelezi. He has now brought a formal bail application before the Alexandra Magistrates Court today. And a survivor of the Lusikisiki massacre in 2024 has broken down while testifying in the mass killing trial in the Eastern Cape today. The mother of Ruth King, who was killed in the shooting, took to the witness stand in the Mthatha High Court sitting in Lusikisiki today. She was also inside the house when the shooting incident took place. Those are the headlines, this EWN and more at 2 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this hour, looking good on our roads. No major delays or serious accidents have been reported. However, look out for those faulty traffic lights. That's in the Edenville area at Modderfontein Road and Van Riebeek. Traffic lights still not working. That's in Midrand at Olifantsfontein Road and the N1, as well as in Rand Park Ridge at Beyers Nordia and the N1 North. If you come across any other traffic issues, please SMS us on 31702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
Louis Myberg says the suspended IDT CEO, Tebogo Malaka, and the entity spokesperson, Pasha Maholane, offered to pay him bribes to bury an ongoing Daily Maverick investigation.
They said it was 60,000 rand. It certainly looked like a substantial wad of cash.
Since the publication, have they come forward to offer any explanation?
No.
It really is quite shocking. The IDT meant to be building schools and clinics. How does all of this sit with you?
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Celebrate Women's Day in style with exclusive platinum or golden standing tickets to see Grammy award-winning singers Anthony Hamilton and Joe Thomas. Enjoy complimentary seating, dedicated bar areas and restrooms, and the freedom to bring your own picnic blankets for a relaxed, unforgettable experience. Happening at the iconic DP World Wanderers Stadium in Sandton, they'll be joined by South Africa's multi-award-winning singers, the incomparable Zonke, Java, and Vusinova. Get your tickets now on CompuTicket or webtickets.co.za. Brought to you by Soulful Night, Vertex Events, and 702.
Choose Checkers, SA's #1 value for money supermarket, and save on Knox Hydration Drink 500 mils, any 2 for 28 rand. Finish dishwasher tablets 45 or 56 pack, any 2 for 419 rand. And Lindt chocolate product range, buy any and save 20%. Valid until this Sunday at Checkers, Checkers Hyper, or shop on 6060.
Did you ever work in the UK? If you did for at least 3 years and you're under 67, you can get a guaranteed UK state pension worth up to 5 million rand over a typical retirement for just a small payment directly to UK revenue. Most people get 40 rand back for every rand they pay in. There's a big queue at UK revenue as this opportunity may end soon, so act fast. Call Extra Pension in Cape Town or see extrapension.com. Mind your UK pension and it'll mind you. Service fees apply.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We are also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comments, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we are not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission. email bccsa@nabsa.co.za. For more, visit bccsa.co.za.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
The situation around Mantengu mining. They went to court last week. They wanted to force you, as the JSE, to publish a SENS statement. They say you stopped them from doing that.
The matter is in the court. Our SENS platform, it's not to be used for anything other than factually based, relevant company information that is price sensitive.
Dr. Leila Fourie, the CEO of the JSE Limited.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by ABSA CIB. ABSA is a proud lead sponsor of B20 South Africa 2025. ABSA is a registered FSP. Your story matters. 702, let's walk the talk.
Your voice.
Your life.
Your afternoon radio.
On 702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Mabotja.
24 minutes to 2 o'clock. We're talking about mathematics. And if we are failing our children and this next generation by not having mathematics, over 400 public schools have dropped pure mathematics. So it's not about underperformance. It is non-existent. It is absent. And for those of you in the teaching space, those of you that are parents, where is the problem? How are we going to solve this issue? Because we have a whole maths Olympiad team that traveled, not a single black or brown face in that mix. What does that say? 011-883-0702, the WhatsApp line 072-702-1702. There was a message that came from here saying, would like to stay anonymous. The issue with math education is that parents' fear are transferred to learners. Learners believe they cannot pass pure maths if they don't take extra classes. For example, there is a stress associated with math from primary school level from parents and teachers. Learners are not enjoying it. They believe it is too difficult. They cannot do it. We go to the lines. Celeste from Johannesburg. Go ahead, Celeste.
Hello, Harvard. I've been, while I was listening to you with all these adverts in the news, I realized there are so many issues involved here. It's multifaceted. First point, I've been in education for 40 years, and the last few years I've been working for Alico, a non-profit organization, which takes maths classes in afternoons in under-resourced schools, primarily. Well, the afternoon program is grade 8 to 12, but we also have junior involvement, etc., primary school. The main thing is that it is absolutely criminal that more than 400 schools are not offering maths. It's not okay. It actually indicates a major crisis. Kids are often forced to take maths lit in grade 10 because they say they didn't do well in the June exams, and suddenly the teachers say, no, we need a good pass rate, so you need to move to maths lit. Often the kids don't do well in the June exams because there's material in those June exams that the children haven't covered. So there's a whole spiral of events in some schools. If you did not see a good representation in the Maths Olympiad, it's not because our learners and our children are not capable. It's because there are many schools that are overcrowded. There are teachers who are not able to help with problem solving from an early age and the teaching of mathematics from an early age. So the problem is deep, and it is definitely one of inequality primarily. It's not because children can't think. The Maths Olympiad is completely offered to every school. They even will give it for free if you take it on. But a lot of schools are under pressure, so they know it's all about matric. So they would rather focus on doing a matric extra lesson than problem solving and helping learners to solve things that the Maths Olympiad involves. So if you look at different schools, the private space is so privileged versus many schools in our country which do not have the resources, too many children, teacher and training support needed.
And I can say it is becoming a luxury and a privilege in the sense that if your child is not getting the support that they need, even in a private school where the teacher-to-pupil ratio is very reasonable, their parents can afford to send them to Kumon, to send them to have a private tutor come in. So the idea of downgrading to standard grade or lit, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, it's maths lit these days.
It's not even an option. I mean, for me, it was do you have capacity to take on additional maths, which I did. It was not even an option. It was so critical and important.
you would be surprised that even at some top schools, some of the kids are sort of saying, no, I think I'll do maths lit. But they've had this amazing system for years. The parents and the teachers should not let them do maths lit, but they're sort of encouraged because they want to see these top class results.
I'm going to ask you to stay on the line, Celeste, because you seem quite informed, and I want us to have a bigger conversation with, one or two experts to join us in this. So please, can our producer take your details? Rachel from Pretoria, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Relebogile. You're listening to the previous caller now. It's like she's talking about my daughter. My daughter has been in a private school all along, and I moved her last year from the previous school. She's in grade 11 this year because the math teacher that was very good left, but the one that came in, she didn't quite understand her. So I moved her to this 3-term school, hoping that, things will be better there. But I almost fainted this week when her math teacher sent me an email about her marks. They are so low. They are so low, it's not funny. And she wants to continue with maths because what she wants to study requires maths. But how does one, come out of this? How do I help her? I have tried a tutor, and she said the tutor was not helpful either. So I'm not sure what is the difference between this maths in these private schools or in this year or period of freedom and the maths during Bantu education, because then we used to pass, 1 + 1 is equals to 2. What has gone wrong? It doesn't matter whether it's apartheid era or it's now the era of freedom, but numbers are the same. I just want to understand what is so wrong that our children are struggling to understand, with mathematics.
With your daughter, what has the school advised?
They advised her to take extra classes, and she says she tried those extra classes. They are also not helpful at school.
Can I maybe recommend, Rachel, I don't know the exact term, but it's in that space of more educational psychologist. I think it's in that space. I could be wrong. But there are those people who can come and assess and see how the child learns, because maybe it's related to that as opposed to just sending to a maths tutor. But please listen in to the rest of this conversation. Those of you that are listening, the daughter struggling with maths. What grade again, Rachel, did you say she's in?
Grade 11.
Grade 11. And that's critical because what she's learning now will be part of her finals. So those that can guide and advise Rachel. Thank you so much, Rachel. Willie in Pretoria, hi.
The other lady before this lady, actually, she has taken my words. Here's the problem. This government doesn't have a vision for these children in terms of maths and science in South Africa. That is the problem. And you can't be having politicians drafting the whole thing of education. We need to have all the professors of the universities, colleges, and teachers and everybody. We need to lock them into the room to come up with something that's going to work. Not politicians telling us about, a revolutionary education. What is that? There's no revolutionary mathematics. There's nothing like that. So, the problem here, another thing is, this. When I'm talking about the vision, if you can ask anybody that if Matome starts school, what will happen to him after 20 years? This government doesn't have that vision. They don't have it. And Ramakala, public administration. Now, I'm a politician and we need total overhaul of this education.
Sure, and I'm seeing.
Maybe we need to call the Singaporeans to come and help us in terms of education. Then maybe we can go somewhere.
Yo, Willie in Pretoria, thank you so much for raising that because it is an issue of the entire education system. Let's look at some of your voice notes on 072 702 and 702.
Mabotja, good afternoon.
Hey, yes.
You were spoiled, man. You are very lucky. You had at least maths in standard grade and higher grade. In my school where I went to in George, Prior to 1994, we didn't even have maths as an option, not even maths lit. And I want to put my head on the block. They still don't have maths. Maybe the lit, they've upgraded to lit, maybe, yeah. But pure maths, I call. Have a nice day.
Good afternoon, Kile. I love mathematics. I love mathematics, but I just couldn't do it. I don't know why. I would get 80% plus in many subjects. But when it came to mathematics, I'll get 50%. So I even failed it in matric. So mathematics was never my thing. Good luck to those who can see the numbers.
Hi, Kile. My daughter was a student at KT Sinkondlo. It's a school in Soweto. They only specialize with pure maths, no maths literacy. So from grade 10, I could see that she was a little bit struggling. I enrolled her for extra lesson, but I think the problem was at school because the teacher, like the teacher told her that there was no hope for her in maths. I think she started hating maths. She started, even in grade 12, it was worse. She failed grade 12 because of maths. Anonymous from Snake Park.
The issue with mathematics, it is because the very same teachers at those non-paying schools, particularly for the black children, the teachers themselves are not qualified. They don't know mathematics in details, and hence they cannot teach properly. I've done mathematics for a very long time and up to the higher level. I've seen that they are not properly taught themselves. Math is not difficult. You just need properly trained and taught teachers.
Sure, let's go to the lines. We have Kaya Stole, who's an actual independent analyst. Kaya, how are you doing?
I'm all good, and good afternoon to everyone.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think for me, one of the big issues that we haven't tackled is why math literacy became a thing in the first place. So many years ago, probably during yours and my time, the options were either you did pure maths or you didn't do pure maths, you didn't do any mathematics at all. And what the view was that there were far too many students who would then exit the system without the ability to even do basic literacy. So the idea of math literacy was to actually capture the audience of people that are already opting out of maths. Unfortunately, the unintended consequence of that is that within the school environment, it then becomes the easy opt-out where students are then encouraged to switch to the other side simply because it is easy. It was designed to be easy because of what its intention was. But then also when people are chasing pass rates as an outcome, you do have this problem. It also ultimately feeds into the pipeline issue because what we now have is that if you look in any court, the people that take up teaching as a discipline are the people that probably wouldn't qualify the profession. So you won't be going to be.
Oh, Kaya, we're starting to lose you just because you're on the road. But just repeat the last two lines that you said. You said the people teaching.
The people that end up teaching maths are probably not the people that were good math students in the first place because with the diminishing pipeline, because so few students are doing maths, the professions that require maths are absorbing all of them. So by the time you get to allocating people to study teaching and the BA degrees, you're not getting the people who are good in maths. So then you have a new pipeline problem where even those that have the skills aren't joining the teaching profession, and you end up with the type of problem that some parents are mentioning here, where perhaps even the quality of the maths teaching itself is a problem. So it's a long-standing policy issue, and unfortunately, it's not something you can resolve overnight.
So what do you think then the solution is?
So I think some of the solutions that have been proposed is that you should move away from the idea of students being told that it's A or B. So that opt-out model is only because if you do math, then you can't do math literacy. So because math literacy was meant to be the one baseline, the baseline subject that everybody should have been aware of, my recommendation is that you make math literacy compulsory. So everybody does that, and then thereafter students are still able to do mathematics. And what that does is that it moves us away from this gamble where teachers as some parents have said, literally make a call after one a set of tests or exams, and then they say want you to switch to their side because your June marks are not good. So if you then make it very difficult for people to create this binary divide and simply say that we want as many of you to take mathematics as possible, with understanding that everybody does math literacy anyway, then you'll be able to capture many more of the students that we're currently losing because of the binary model, where at very, very premature stages, particularly grade 9 students are forced to make the call without the input of parents in particular.
Sure. Thank you so much for that insight, Kaya. And I'm actually just realizing I think we need to have a show specifically dedicated to mathematics and what we're going to do about it. I think we cannot keep quiet as parents in particular. We need to protect the futures of our children. I mean, you can all just go and do a simple Google search of what it is that mathematics does for the brain. Like which part of the brain it stimulates. We really need to have a big conversation here. Boipelo in Roodepoort, go ahead.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thanks, and you?
I'm good. Relebogile, I think the main reason why the kids are subjected to math literacy, sometimes it becomes a problem with the person who is offering pure mathematics at school. I will make an example of myself. When I was in high school in matric, in June, I got G for mathematics until another learner who was a grade ahead of us come and teach us math. I promise you, he took me from G to D by December. So most of the time, it's about the people who are offering the subject. Do they have skill? Or is it somebody who was studying a course and then they could not get the job on the course that they studied for, and then they do PGC and then they go to mathematics? The criteria, math is very critical subject. So I think the government should strengthen on getting the right people to offer the subject. So sometimes it's just about the person who is doing that particular subject. Is he skilled enough to offer mathematics? So I think that I have a cousin who moved in June from mathematics to math lit because she could not understand the mathematics teacher, and then she was forced to downgrade to math lit.
And I think just to add there, as you're saying, the right teacher, I mean, I'm wondering, people that go into education, do they ever have to do personality type tests, Boipelo? Because having the skills on paper is one thing, but maybe there's a personality aspect with how they do it.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you so much, Boipelo, there. I do believe a teacher can make or break the child's future in a subject. You can have an exceptional teacher who, outside of the skills on paper of how to teach, but in their character, a certain level of patience, a certain level of belief in you, a certain level of not giving up on you. Because if your teacher says, I think you should consider downgrading or not taking the subject, the parents are going to listen as well. Fred in Randburg, hi.
Hi, Relebogile. Very quickly, I am a retired mathematics teacher, high school, but I started in the lower standards teaching. And when I started teaching, I was told mathematics is difficult, children are failing. So the first thing I did was to make sure that I give more time for teaching of mathematics, because I realized that there were a lot of things that are happening in the townships and all that, and we sometimes don't finish the syllabus. So I made sure that I finished the syllabus. That's number one. Number two, I looked at this very syllabus that we were teaching. That was before 1994. And I realized that there were some topics that needed to be rearranged for children to be able to understand, because some of those topics needed information in a previous topic that in the syllabus was still going to come, but I felt I had to use that, teach that before, so that when I get to the next stage, then the children are with me. And three, when we went to what we were called refresher courses, one of the people, an Afrikaans lady, said, our children fail. Now, I taught in a township school. She said, our children fail mathematics largely because they don't understand geometry. And I took that back with me, and I made sure that my children understood geometry very well for them to be able to answer questions at matric level. But finally, My wife is a psychologist, and there's a boy who ended up at University of Cape Town and ended up in Canada and all that, who was told in his school that he will not make it. And my wife took her and did the assessment test on him. So you said that earlier on when I was still listening on the radio, and you hit the nail on the head that we've got to assess our children and see what happens. And yes, it is true. You cannot take a teacher who does not understand mathematics himself or herself and make them try and teach children. That is not good. It's very bad planning by any government, any department, any school.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Fred, a retired maths high school teacher. Gary from Johannesburg, go ahead.
Hi there, how are you?
Good. Yes, Gary?
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. So just quickly, I'm a television producer, and I can tell you one thing. I've been doing a story now for the last couple of years involving the Capitec Foundation, and I can tell you one thing. From going to various schools across the country, our kids want to learn. Our teachers want to teach. I have got actual footage on camera whereby various teachers and student teachers telling me it is the government departments that are holding our children back. And that's a big worry for me.
And in what sense? Because I do feel like there is a political element to it, but I can't even articulate what that would be. This is just me speculating or having a gut feel that there's something bigger happening here.
Okay, so the simple answer is it's a photo opportunity. So you rock up at a school and the various officials come there, they hand out food parcels, and basically all the kids are there, everyone's smiling, and then what happens? They go away and nothing gets done. These teachers are coming in on Saturdays and Sundays at their own cost, at their own accord, with no resources, and teaching these children. And these children are thriving.
Thank you so much, Gary, for that call. And I see so many of your calls coming through. I'm going to have a chat with my producer, Pashida. We will have a whole show dedicated to this. I think it is big enough and important enough. Your messages, your voice notes, we will keep them all because this conversation cannot end here.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
The buses, many of them are in a bad state. From your perspective at SAMWU, how long have you been aware that this is actually a problem? What have your members been saying?
What not been aware of is that there is two companies that are operating in that space.
Okay.
One is Piotrans and the other one is Litsamais. The company that is mostly affected by these unroadworthy buses is the Piotrans company.
Okay.
So as a result, not to be operated on the system and they would then have to be grounded.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
Whenever you hear deep in the heart and art of jazz, think Sia Makuzeni with the big band, Jasmine Horn, Alun Wad, The Baylor Project, Jose James sings Badu, Umusangare, Esperanza Spalding, Michelle Ndujiochelo, Elaine, Tezo, Munei, Monli Ngobo, and many other spectacular icons. Think Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Festival, 4 stages at the Sandton Convention Center, 26th, 27th and 28th September, and take me there. Book via Ticketmaster.
A healthy immune system begins in your gut, so the inclusion of high-quality probiotics in your diet can be beneficial. Biogen Supreme Probiotic 9 strain is an advanced formula with Hawaru strains and Orafti Synergy 1 fiber designed to improve intestinal flora. Biogen now also offers Supreme Probiotic for her for intimate feminine wellness, as well as a Q Travel Biotic and Choose for Juniors. Choose a probiotic supplement that's right for you. Available at Dis-Chem and biogen.co.za.
Ah, choices. We love them. Like a Jator dealer asking you, so which one do you like? And you're like, do you like the bold, stylish, head-turning dashing from 4,999 per month? Or the adventurous 7-seater X70 Plus from 5,199 per month? Both. Because yes, choices. Book your test drive at Jator.coza and make an excellent choice either way. T's and C's apply. Jator. Drive your future.
So we did a thing. A full commitment kind of thing.
we've partnered with Sixt to bring Worldwide to your doorstep. So, you see how that's a serious thing, because that's what you deserve. We know you're the GOAT, so premium it is. Premium service, premium vehicles, premium you, premium us. Sani Sixt is all about adding extra to ordinary. Extra reach, extra countries, so you can be extra premium worldwide. Be the greatest of all time and rent Sani Sixt.
In the next hour of the show, masterclass on the experience economy. It's 2:00.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. The ANC says government should not give in to pressure from foreign countries to reverse some of its transformation policies like broad-based black economic empowerment. It comes on the back of the US slapping South Africa with a 30% tariff on all its exported goods starting from tomorrow. US President Donald Trump has previously criticized the Expropriation Act, which he falsely claims has led to government seizing land from white farmers. At a media briefing today, ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula says the party's National Executive Committee has reaffirmed its commitment to the country's transformation laws.
The NEC is particularly resolute that South Africa will not be coerced into reversing its progressive economic transformation agenda or compromising its sovereignty under the guise of opportunistic foreign pressures.
Mbalula also criticized the DA's response to the US tariffs debacle.
The Democratic Alliance reaction to the minister's announcement exposes a mindset that is out of touch with the aspirations of South African people. Their reckless calls for deregulation and abandonment of broad-based black economic empowerment are a direct affront to the principles of the Freedom Charter.
Justice Minister Mamoloko Kubai has told Parliament that there are no cases of political influence against prosecutors and investigators. Kubai says there are sufficient checks and balances in place to prevent any potential influence in investigations by the Investigating Directorate Against Corruption. Kubai was responding to a written parliamentary question from the EFF regarding allegations of political influence in investigations made by KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Babalondenze reports.
Minister Mamoloko Kubai confirms that the Director of Public Prosecutions in KwaZulu-Natal has received an inquiry from the police and has dedicated prosecutors to deal with allegations of obstructing and defeating the course of justice. She says this is regarding the disbandment of the political killings task team in KZN, allegedly at the request of suspended Minister Senzo Mchunu. But Kubai adds that there are prescripts that guide the investigations and legal processes that the corruption-busting unit and the NPA must follow. She says there are sufficient checks and balances to ensure that there is no interference, internal or otherwise. Kubai tells Parliament that to date, there has not been any interference in the matters that the IDAC has been dealing with. She further states that her role as the minister is more administrative and policy-oriented and does not extend to involvement or interference with specific prosecutorial decisions. Babalondenza, Eyewitness News.
In the courts now, the lead investigator in the case involving Katiso Molefe has told the court that the Sandton businessman is active in the illicit drug trade. He has also indicated that the murder charges that he faces are linked to the illegal activities. Molefe is facing charges allegedly linked to the murders of popular musician Oupa Sefoka, known as DJ Sambodi, as well as DJ Vintos, whose real name was Hector Buthelezi. He has brought a formal bail application before the Alexandra Magistrates Court today. Khomoto Modise reports.
61-year-old Katiso KT Molefe entered the dock in a puffer jacket with a large fur hoodie and sat quietly as his legal representative, top lawyer advocate Michael Helens, made his case for bail. It's been widely speculated that the murders of DJ Sambodi and DJ Vintos were linked to the illicit drug trade. And today, the Alexandra Magistrates Court has heard this from the lead investigator. The sergeant's affidavit was read by the state advocate, who cannot be named.
The analysis of the bank statement obtained through Section 205 subpoena showed that the applicant predominantly received cash deposit with no identifiable sources of these funds. This raises a strong suspicion.
The sergeant also claims that after the DJs were murdered in March and November 2022, Molefe's co-accused, the alleged hitmen, made large cash deposits into their bank accounts. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News at the Alexandra Magistrates Court.
Let's stay in the courts. A survivor of the 2024 Lusikisiki massacre has broken down while testifying in the mass-killing trial in the Eastern Cape today. The mother of Ruth King, who was killed in the shooting, took to the witness stand in the Mthatha High Court sitting in Lusikisiki today. She was also inside the house when the shooting incident took place. 6 men are currently on trial for the massacre, facing charges including murder, kidnapping and robbery with aggravating circumstances. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
The mother of one of the victims has detailed her only daughter's final moments and the brutal manner she was killed during the September 2024 massacre. State prosecutor advocate Ngulego Matenjwa led evidence from the witness. She told the court that before the gunmen stormed into her home, the victim sang worship songs and held a short prayer. She says moments after that, while some had fallen asleep, a group of men forced their entry into the home. They demanded to know the whereabouts of someone named Siko, one of their relatives. She told the court all she heard after that were gunshots. Breaking down into tears, she says her daughter Ruth King also called out to her twice before gunshots silenced her. The court proceedings are continuing. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Lusikisiki in the Eastern Cape.
And in Germany, more than 17,000 people have been told to evacuate their homes in the eastern German city of Dresden following a bomb find. Experts are working on defusing the bomb left over from World War II after it was discovered during clearance work for a collapsed bridge. The Carola Bridge partially collapsed in the middle of the night in September last year. City authorities say the bomb was British-made and weighs 250 kilograms. Gold is trading at $3,366.32 an ounce. The rand is at 17.83 to the dollar, 23.77 to the pound, 20.71 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $67.64 a barrel.
Well, at this stage in our traffic, things looking really good. No accidents have been reported, either no major delays at this stage. Just look out for those faulty traffic lights in the Edenville area, Modderfontein Road and Van Riebeck. There's also faulty traffic lights in Alex at Marlborough Drive and Far East Bank, as well as in Rand Park Ridge at Bayers Nodia and the N1 North.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 22 and 23 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. The ANC says government should not give in to pressure from foreign countries to reverse some of its transformation policies like broad-based black economic empowerment.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You know greatness when you see it. Now it's time to celebrate it. Gauteng's greatest awards with 702. Powered by Yoko. Head to primemediaplus.com to make your nomination.
You're with Relebogile Mabotja.
Live, streaming countrywide
On the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
9 minutes after 2 o'clock, the second and final hour of 702 Afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja. And I'm looking forward to this one. And thank you so much to all of you who have been sharing your messages on mathematics. We definitely will give this conversation a lot of airtime because I do believe it is a crisis and we don't need to wait for alarm bells to now be sounding loud. It is the time to act now, and it requires everybody to be a part of the conversation. Government, private sector, us as parents, the teaching community, the tutors, the NGOs that are in that space, and the students themselves, not just foundation phase, high schoolers, varsity kids as well. So we will definitely keep all of your messages and voice notes too. If you want to be a part of the discussion or you want to share some insights, use our email address 702afternoons@702.co.za. This hour of the show, we're jumping to a master class. Today's masterclass is on the experience economy. If you're like, what? Listen, we're going to find out all about it. We're joined by Greg Walsh for this conversation, CEO of G&G Productions. Your calls on 011 8830702, SMS us 31702, tweet at Relebogile M at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 afternoons, and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702
Masterclass.
Masterclass for today is on the experience economy. We're joined in studio by Greg Walsh, the CEO of G&G Productions, the Goosebumps company. And if you are like, what is the experience economy? Listen, many people, including myself, have jumped on seeing the value in experiences versus material items. I've shared with all of you how I'm tackling this 40 before 40. I do need to update my list and tell you all the interesting experiences I've had that I've ticked off. I have a month left to get as many more as possible. So for me, this is quite exciting. Your calls on 011 8830702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 702. Greg, welcome. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you, Relebogile. And I must say, just masterclass does make it feel daunting.
Oh, I can tell you, all of us come here
High
as non-masters, but we're going to leave as masters of being curious in the subject. And then we're going to head out and just get on that road to get all of that information. So what is the experience economy?
So I think if we try and distill it simply, it's this notion of valuing memories over materials. I think if we look back through the Industrial Revolution, the 70s, 80s, 90s, life was about amassing things, assets, a home, a car. And what we're finding now is that people are spending more on moments that move them than on stuff that lives on a shelf or can live in a ledger, or you can say that you own. And if we look at it from a brand's perspective, I think in the past, brands, it was about stamping your authority. If you think about where marketing has come from, you would have logos on billboards, you would have product placements. And if we think about events, it would be how many fly banners can we stick in a row, down the fence line to make sure that everybody sees that our brand is here. And I think the experience economy changes that. It's more about how we can make people feel, and that people are looking for feel and emotion more so than things to buy, things to have, and to be told by some brand.
And I also think, just in terms of, if you look at the influencer space, the way you'll get people to talk about your brand without you talking about them, they no longer want, the branded Stanley Cup. They no longer want, because our cupboards are filled with them. But if you can offer them this life-changing experience, then it becomes completely memorable. And I've seen hints of it at certain events where they really are getting quite experimental with what is the mark we're going to leave people with, because you want them. That's something you can never take away from them. But that mug, or maybe sending them a bottle of gin, it's going to go, you're going to move on with your life.
And I think the goalpost keeps moving. I think if we'd sat here 10 years ago, if you'd done a branded Stanley Cup, you would have been a market innovator and a sort of marketing genius. And now that's all been done. And I think you talk about the influencer economy, that's a whole economy on its own. That's also moved on. There's a requirement for people looking for much more, looking for more depth, more meaning, more authenticity. Bring me an experience that makes sense. Find out, if we're talking about events, why am I here in the first place? And then as a marketeer and as a brand, how can I tap into their reason for being there, not just give a gift so it's definitely shifting. And I think the point is it shifts quickly, and marketing accelerates at an exponential rate these days, and we've got to keep up every second. We weren't talking about influencers 6 or 7 years ago.
We were not, even though people were being influential, and now we've learned to monetize it. It still goes back to the fact that also word of mouth is extremely powerful. Okay, I want to touch on some of your experience. I mean, you've been behind some very iconic experiential events, Rage Festival. Back in our day, it was just matric holiday, and you'd go and just create a hot mess and ruin people's holidays, thereby Belito.
I think we were creating a hot mess down there as well.
we were creating a hot mess, and then it sort of became formalized, and there were tags and all of these things. You've done Umoya, and then of course the one that everybody spoke about, and I'm so sad I didn't make it, the Marble Festival, but my team went and bragged to me when I was like, thanks that I wasn't able to go, but they had such a ball. But talk to me about what your approach is generally to these kind of events, and how you find the balance between dealing with the stakeholders that have a say and getting them on board of the creative madness. Because I also have the creative madness, and you have to get the stakeholders on board and trust the vision.
So I think it starts with us as a business. We're G&G, the Goosebumps company. You said it. And I think we really try and focus on doing 4 things really well. We start by creating incredible event brands from the ground up. So we don't necessarily work on briefs from brands. We create our own branded properties, whether they're festivals or one-off events, and we try to build really strong brands around those. Then we try to make sure that we're dreaming and delivering unforgettable Goosebumps, because it starts with us. We can't push a brand to participate in a certain way if we're not leading by example. So delivering unforgettable Goosebumps, and I'm sure we'll get into how we do that, but that sits at the fiber of everything that we do. And then this whole idea of the death of sponsorship and building extraordinary brand partnerships, where there's a partnership between the brand and the event, there's a partnership between the event and the fans that come, and by working cleverly together, we create a partnership between the fans and the brands as well. And I think when we start that way, and if we start talking about, for example, the luxurious marble circus, by us first creating an environment that was so fantastical, so whimsical, so out of the ordinarious, as we call it, we created our own dictionarium of words because we felt that normal words simply wouldn't do. And by us creating something completely out of this world, one, I think brands were impressed, and they were really quite blown away by the sheer level of creativity and ideation and magic and wonder that hadn't really been done in South Africa before. We see it thanks to social media all across the world, these amazing things that happen. But, rarely do events have the budget in South Africa with the size of our events and the ticket prices we charge to compete or do something even close. So we really set out to completely change the landscape and do something unbelievable. And as we got into the process with each brand, we were just really trying to inspire them to dream outside the box that perhaps they'd taken to event sponsorships before, and come in a way that was completely out of the ordinary, whimsical, magical. And we actually, as a result, had to do a lot of the thinking with them. One of the most amazing partnerships has been Investec, because they're the title partner, but if you walked around that festival, you did not feel Investec in your face. They were perhaps in a way almost coaching us as we were coaching them, because they were saying, well, actually, could you take our logo off that, please?
And I love when brands are comfortable to do that, because they're starting to understand that the value is not just seeing your logo there. If the impact is great enough, you will get that ROI that you are looking for, not like that feeling which all of us have of like, oh my gosh, YouTube is forcing me to watch ads. Oh my gosh, like that thing where you are immediately turned off when you see hashtag ad or whatever the case may be. I'm curious with something that you said, that it's no longer sponsorships, it's brand partnerships. Talk to me about what that means, especially considering where we are at the moment as an economy. We know the marketing budget is the first place to get cut, meaning the eventing, the television, even radio, all of these industries are highly impacted, meaning you have less, but clients will always want more, then more, and what the partnership part looks like.
So I think the first thing is to say, how do we approach partnerships? And it's to guide our brand partners. When they start the conversation in a meeting where there's an interest to, let's use the word, sponsor one of our events, and the question starts with, how many phones can we sell? How many packages can we sign up? Already the conversation has started completely on the wrong footing. So it's about trying to guide brands and say, you never hear Apple start their conversation with, our phone has a 36 megapixel camera. They never start there. They start with telling you how you're going to feel. and how this product will make you feel. If you want to go and read about the specifications and features, you can go and read it. And we try and take the same mindset to event partnerships. So there's a fee to play, obviously. You know, we need significant event sponsorship fees for us to produce an event like the Luxurious Marble Circus in the first place. To get brands to have the creativity of mind to want to go and dig into budgets, like you say, budgets that often get cut, and invest that money, it's up to us to come up with very clear and clever ways for them to integrate and partner. And some little examples, you know, if I think again back to the Luxurious Marble Circus, we built 2 beautiful lounges. So we wanted a marble space and we wanted a saint space.
Yes.
So the marble space is called the Grand Dining Room, and the saint space is called the Royal Lounge. And some of our brand partners, on the one side is Moet Hennessy, and on the other side is Don Julio and Johnny Walker. And traditionally, those brands may have come to events and built a beautiful activation stand where consumers could come and taste product and product to lips and, you know, all these types of buzzwords that we hear. And we said, why don't you become our partners in the Grand Dining Room and the Royal Lounge? Now, the benefit to them is they didn't have to pay for that. So we built, with multi-million rand budgets, these gorgeous dining environments and set them up at our cost. And we said, your pay to play is your sponsorship fee, which we that's a separate contractual item that's got a basket and a portfolio of rights. But as a value add, you can have this space with us. You just pay for your branding touches, which, by the way, we'll do for you, because we want your branding to feel like it was manufactured at the same time as this entire lounge.
Which is always the best way, so that
Totally.
there's not that level of inconsistency. And because your ticket pricing is so high, you've set a level. Brands can also kill your vibe in the sense that they're sending logos where you're like, guys, the resolution is a little bit low. And I love that you did it in that way.
Totally. So I think allowing brands to integrate into spaces that are already existing has been a great way, one, to demonstrate real tangible value back to brands. You might be paying 3 million or 5 million rand or a significant amount of money to participate, but you're getting to, in inverted commas, own, along with the event, an event that is costing that same amount, a space that is costing that same amount of money, where typically brands will have a fee to play. They'll pay their sponsorship fee, and then everything else is up to them. They must come and either build a stand, or they must come and deploy branding. And often that's where it goes wrong, because it's toolkit, which is, again, my least favorite buzzword. When a brand says, we'll send you our items from toolkit, fridges, bar counters, fence wraps, gazebos, fly banners. And the answer at all of our events, not just the Luxurious Marble Circus, is no. You have to come and participate in a way that suits the environment, adds value to the people who are coming, because then you're going to win, we're going to win, and the fans coming to the event are going to win as well.
And I see the aspect of the amount of education that you need to do along the lines of teaching clients, who usually are your marketing department, and then your C-suites kind of need to sign off, because the finance department looks at these millions and is like, this is a one-day event. You know, it's not like a 13-week sponsorship of a big television show where it's them. So your team, that team, needs to justify why this value is there, and it's a whole process of the educating. In terms then of just where you're saying the partnership part being the one aspect, how are you getting the public to be on board of the vision? Because let's use again the Marble Festival to say, what was the most expensive ticket? I can't recall. It was like 3,000 rand or something.
Yeah, last year they were 5,000, and this year they're all the way up to 8,000 rand for the most expensive ones.
Yes. So now, how do you get people on board when already people complained about, I don't know, it was Chris Brown's ticket or something, and they're like, guys, we can't even afford to be standing, but obviously you're operating in a different world. How do you get that communication going, especially for the people listening? There are many promoters out there. There are many people trying to hustle, bring internationals into the country. And you guys were sold out, so it's not even like you were struggling. I think by the time we had an interview with your partners that came through to have a discussion, it was like almost sold out. And I was like, I feel like we're always talking about how poor we are, but people were making a means to afford those tickets.
So again, I think not leading with products and features. International artists are a double-edged sword for a festival. If you're a promoter, like I have huge respect for big concerts of more than 50 years of incredible shows in South Africa, their product is the artist.
Yep.
Our product is not the artist. So we're critically aware that we could probably sell more tickets in the short term if we went and dropped a big name on our lineup, or a big name for Saturday, one for Sunday. But then the problem becomes next year, everybody doesn't want to buy the tickets until they find out who's playing. And the issue there is that the time that artist plays might be 50 minutes out of an 11-hour experience. I want to sell you the 11-hour experience. I want to tell you, using mystery, intrigue, fantasy, scarcity, stories. And, we've got some wonderful partners both in the Marble Group and in Grid Worldwide, our design partners, who have also taught me a lot about marketing and design, because great design, thinking about design as a creative asset, investing in it, investing in stories, investing in video production content, investing in some influencers to an extent, and really immersing them into the story of what we're going to do and making great content with them. We're this year already well over 50% sold out. Our lounges, the expensive tickets, are just about gone. There's a few left for Sunday, the tables. All of that was sold before we said one feature about the event.
Wow.
Nothing. Not an artist, not what the food menu would be, nothing. And only, in fact, yesterday did we announce, we don't call it our artists, we call it our magnificent acts, because it's artists. We talk about the trapeze acts, the tightrope
and the
walkers,
circus,
the circus
concept,
acts.
yes.
Because we're very careful to not go, and the lineup is, because that if you're asking who's playing at the luxurious marble circus, you've already misunderstood what we're trying to present you.
That is so well said, because I love the fact that you're saying that is not the product. That is just an add-on. It's the slushy at the movies. It's the popcorn at the movies. And I love that you have reached a point where people are so on board of the concept. It gives it the longevity that it requires. And even the fact that you don't make the artist the most important thing, because what you run the risk of with that is people only attracting the people who support those artists coming to the event, as opposed to having people interested in the entire experience, and the artists just so happen to be there. Because we know how it goes. I wouldn't take tickets for that show, and so they don't go. I am curious just in terms of where you look to for inspiration for these type of experiences. And I wonder if in that you allow yourself to go into your childlike self, being a fellow creative. I always tell my team, which is your set designers and all of those, my AV and tech guy, I just tell them the crazy things in my head. And then they have to come back and tell me, okay, it's happening in this country and. But it's a difficult thing, and I don't know if you experience the same thing, of holding yourself back from being too creative, because we understand the realities of the logistics, the costs, and all of those things. But how do you keep yourself inspired? How do you decide where to pull back? How do you decide to say, let's go wild? It's all or nothing.
I think it's also different strokes for different events. The Luxurious Marble Circus budget is 15 times more than one of our least expensive productions. So I think what's happened there is budget has followed good ideas. So to your point, getting extraordinarily creative and coming up with the wildest, most fantastical ideas led us to being able to charge a higher ticket price, and most importantly, to onboard brands in a significant way. This festival, even though those ticket prices in the South African context might seem mega, 1,000 Rand for a playground in the field, if you can call it general access ticket, from 4,000 Rand upwards for a lounge seat, you might think, well, we've got a huge budget to work with. The ticket revenue is under 40% of our total revenue for the event. And there's a little bit in the middle of merchandising and bar revenues and so on. And north of 50% of our revenue is coming from brands. And it was the great ideas, and I can't take all the credit myself. I mean, many of the ideas are mine. I do dream. I don't go into a dark room and take drugs. But somewhere along the line,
some of the things I saw in your artwork, I'm like, I said to the team, somebody on this team is taking something.
I do think there are some people in the creative departments at Grid that I do question how they get so creative, and if it's assisted. But there are, I think, there's the incredible brand was designed by Grid, and they went down a rabbit hole that gave way to us being able to come up with crazy event ideas. Because once we had this totally fantastical brand, then we could start thinking about ideas. One of the new ideas for this year is called the La Volta. We are building a stage. It's a music stage.
I'm going to make you pause that thought because I want to give you a chance to explain it properly. We need to go to the news. When we come back, we continue and get your questions in 011 883 0702 in the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. It's just after 2:30. Time for your latest eyewitness news headlines. What is happening with Triple BEE? Good afternoon.
Thanks, Relebogile. A very good afternoon. Well, the ANC says government should not give in to pressure from foreign countries to reverse some of its transformation policies like Triple BEE. This comes on the back of the US slapping South Africa with a 30% tariff on all its exported goods starting from tomorrow. US President Donald Trump has previously criticized the Expropriation Act, which he falsely claims has led to government seizing land from white farmers. Justice Minister Mameloko Kubai has told Parliament that there are no cases of political influence against prosecutors and investigators. Kubai says there are sufficient checks and balances in place to prevent any potential influence in these investigations. Kubai was responding to a written parliamentary question from the EFF regarding allegations of political influence in investigations that were made by KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. And a survivor of the 2024 Lusikisiki massacre has broken down while testifying in the mass-killing trial in the Eastern Cape. The mother of Ruth King, who was killed in the shooting, took to the witness stand in the Mthatha High Court, which is sitting in Lusikisiki today. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 3 or as it happens.
This week on Polytricking with Sidi Madia.
What's the best way for our electoral system to be?
In South Africa, we don't have very rigid requirements of anyone who becomes a parliament.
That's part of the problem.
If the party likes you and you have been a good member of a party, maybe you sing well, whatever you
Open
do.
the live room.
Those are the changes we must make. Don't blame us for having done it that way because we copied from others. But we didn't know that this system will not suit our particular context. And that is why now we have more poor people.
Dr. Brigadier Bam.
Listen to the full episode on primemediaplus.com. Polytricking with Sidi Madia on EWN. In touch, in tune, and independent.
Experience a once-in-a-lifetime Women's Day celebration on the 9th of August at the iconic DP World Wanderers Stadium, featuring two Grammy Award-winning legends, Anthony Hamilton and Joe Thomas, alongside South Africa's own incredible Zonke, Sjava and Vusinova, all live in concert. Enjoy the ultimate VIP experience with platinum and golden standing tickets. You'll get complimentary seating, private bars, exclusive restrooms, and the freedom to bring your own picnic blankets for a truly relaxed intimate evening. So get ready for a soul-stirring night as the voices that have captured Mzansi's hearts bring the house down in this true South African style. Get your tickets now on CompuTicket or webtickets.co.za. Brought to you by Soulful Night, Vertex Events and 702.
It all starts with FNB Private. With secure, easy payments for a hassle-free overseas holiday. Tap, swipe or go digital with your FNB Visa cards. Earn rewards when using your FNB credit card or global account debit and virtual card. You can even fund your global account on the FNB app while traveling. Make the most of every moment. Unlock invaluable with FNB Private. Help changes everything. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSP and credit provider. TCs, earn rules and limits apply.
Hey, honey, look. Went to the shops, like you asked, and it was the Deco Fern birthday sale. Picked up this amazing 3-seater sofa for only $5,599. And this coffee table, just $489. Oh, and this gorgeous standing mirror for like $699.
Wow, I just asked you to get some milk.
Get deals worth celebrating at Deco Fern Furniture's epic birthday sale with 10 to 40% and more of everything in-store or online now at decofurnsa.co.za.
Meet the new Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7, re-engineered to be our thinnest and lightest foldable yet. Move with confidence, powered by an ultra-sleek, ultra-slim design that adapts wherever life takes you. Open your world to expansive screens, seamlessly crafted for work and play. It's innovation that fits your pocket. Upgrade to the new Galaxy Z Fold 7 and get double the storage on us. Hurry, offer ends 31 August. T's and C's apply.
You work hard, you save what you can, but will it be enough for your retirement? For most South Africans, the answer is no. This Thursday on 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa, Old Mutual Corporate brings you a powerful conversation inspired by their upcoming Thought Leaders Forum tackling the retirement crisis and the urgent need for collaborative leadership. We'll discuss how business and policymakers can join forces to change the country's retirement future. Don't miss insightful conversation Thursday, the 7th of August, brought to you by Old Mutual Corporate on 702.
Coming up
on 702 Drive with John Perlman.
702 Drive is coming up from 3 to 6 p.m. with John Perlman. John, how are you doing?
Yes, doing very well, thanks. How are you?
I am doing well, and I'm absolutely looking forward to finding out what's happening on your show.
Yeah, so good afternoon to all of our listeners. Very, very large numbers of people have been arrested in the police operation called Operation Shanela. The big question for me, though, and it's always been the case when they have these big operations, highly visible policing, is what difference does this actually make? Because the key numbers would be, okay, someone's been arrested. Has a case been put together? Have they been prosecuted? Have they been convicted? We're going to talk to crime and policing expert Dr. Guy Lamb about that. I'm not for a minute suggesting that visibility in and of itself is not of value, but it's got to actually manifest itself in actually getting people who, if they are involved in crime, off the streets. So we'll look at that more closely at about 10 minutes past 5. Issues around the compensation for miners who have either TB or silicosis. Some concerns about funds being set aside for their compensation, but that money not being paid. We'll look more closely at what exactly is going on there. Speaking of miners, still problems with illegal miners out in Barberton. Mongezi Koko is on that story, and we'll hear from him a little bit later in the show. And again, staying with illegal mining, but on a different matter. The turbulence created underground in Gauteng and beyond by all this mining going on has actually led to 11 or 12 schools, I think it is, actually having to be evacuated because learners can't study in those buildings safely. So we'll talk to a geology expert about that. We hope to bring you that story at 10 past 4.
All right, 702 Drive coming up from 3 to 6 p.m. with John Perlman.
702
Masterclass.
22 minutes to 3 o'clock. We continue with our masterclass for today on the experience economy. And we are in conversation with Greg Walsh, CEO of G&G Productions, the Goosebumps company. We take your calls with your questions on 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. Greg, we were chatting about the inspiration for your creativity and how you don't limit yourself. And I think creativity is the solve for so many problems in our country. And I know many people might not see themselves as creators because they're sitting in an accounting office or they're in a law firm. But if we think about it, creativity is required for finding solutions regularly. If anything, creativity helps with the dealing with, okay, we don't have enough money, the ground is not level, but this is what we can do. So talk to us again about what you do to expand. Is it travel? Is it taking some creative support? You can actually make that a line item on your budget. Creative support supplement. But what is it, and what can we all learn from your process?
Creativity is the fundamental bone of anything. And, I think at the most basic level, we've got a problem this year. Travis Scott was announced on the same date that we were planning to announce. We were going to announce our festival 2 or 3 days after the date that Travis Scott got announced. We stopped. We went, if we don't...
Oh, as in you saw the Travis Scott announcement and then you said, pause.
Pause. So, we had booked 2.5 weeks of setup and a week of loadout at ground in Mulder's Drift.
Yes.
We went, hold on, pause. If we don't have to compete with this, I think it's a slightly different audience in many respects, but there's certainly crossover. If we don't have to compete with this, why would we? So we went to the venue and said, look, we've booked the 2.5 weeks before. Can we move a week earlier? They said, sure, but the weekend before that,
there's another thing.
There's 2 weddings. There's then a market day on the Wednesday. So you talk about creativity. We're having to now creatively work out logistics about how do we do, overnight double shift load-ins of various things. How can we load in certain elements before the weddings that won't impact the backdrop of their all-important photographs? So there's been a lot of creativity on that side. So creativity is the backbone. But I think my big piece of advice for anyone organizing an event or an experience or even wanting to market a product is, and to be honest, I've been doing events for 23 years and I genuinely believe I've only learned this in the last 2 years. Don't start with what is the event going to all be like. Don't start with we're going to have 2 stages, we're going to have this venue. Start at the very beginning, and the very beginning is, what is your story? What is going to make this different? What is your blue ocean strategy? Why would people come to your event rather than something else? And if you talk about blue ocean strategy, there was a wonderful case study done on Cirque du Soleil, which entered the market in the, I think, late 80s, early 1990s in the US. And they came up against 2 of the most established, more than 100-year-old circus brands in the world. And circus had got to a point where it was about how much can we stuff in the circus to compete.
So the wild animal, the acrobatics, then you have the... I nearly said the court jester, but yes, basically. Totally. The one doing the magician, yes.
And what they got to was Cirque du Soleil looked at this, and luckily they looked at it and said, we're going to do a circus and try and compete. Right, what do they do? Let's do more. Because the problem was circus was becoming unaffordable for families of 4 or 5. They were going less often as a result, and the circuses were costing more than ever because they were so big on so many things at the same time in order to be competitive. Cirque du Soleil looked at the whole thing and said, let's make a circus for adults. We'll exclude the kids. If it's only 2 people, maybe they can come 3 or 4 times a year. Let's take away 3 arenas at the same time. That circus had got to the point where there was wild animals at the same time as jugglers, at the same time as trapeze. And they looked and they said, through whatever research they did, people love clowns and trapeze, the backflip acrobatics, the most. And they went all in on that. They got rid of celebrity performers. They got rid of animals. Animals were the most expensive and becoming the most controversial element in circus. And they went all in on those 2 items. And by doing that, they turned over more money in 20 years than those 2 biggest American started circus family-backed 100-and-something-year-old businesses had done together in over 100. And that was just taking a step backwards. So not what's the industry doing? What's the norm? Let's stop and go. And sometimes research doesn't give you everything you want to know either, because people sometimes give you the answer based on a bias about things they've already seen.
You talk about in your focus groups, it will never be 100% accurate.
Yes. Sometimes you have to work out what people aren't saying they want. And that was what really was like a blossoming flower for me with the luxurious marble circus, was when Grid presented this brand for the first time, and I looked at it and I thought, we wanted a festival with the marble group, G&G Goosebumps, we wanted all these things, Investec as our title partner, all there. To be honest, my initial name for it was Boutique. And they came back with this Wes Anderson-inspired world, the luxurious marble circus with delight and decadence and dance and pantomime and whimsy and phantasmic. And that suddenly went, aha, this is a totally new genre. We're no longer trying to do what everybody else is doing. We've gone and looked at luxury, because luxury is often quite restrained and stiff-collared and, not too noisy. And festival can often feel, which is fun, can often feel quite cheap. So how do we do high fun, high luxury, and how do we own that? And in presenting high fun, high luxury with this crazy branded idea, out came the magic, the sounding board to now go, oh, what about that idea? Oh my God, what if we had stilt walkers and mimes and this and that? What if we built a trampoline into a stage where artists could do backflips? What if we put a tightrope walker up in the stage? What if we did projection mapping instead of LED screens? And suddenly all these things kind of came bundling out on the back of good narrative. So, this idea of invest in the creative first is my advice before rushing to what are all the products and features of your experience going to be.
In terms of if you were to categorize experiences, and I'll just use mine when I was looking at what are the type of experiences I want to do as my mini bucket list, right? So I looked at...
I'm on my just the other side of 40 list. You're on your almost 40 list.
Yes, but I have less than a month to go. I'm practically there already. But
Welcome.
I categorized it as some giving back experiences where it is priceless, the feeling of knowing you changed somebody's life. Then there are the adrenaline junkie, wild, you could die, the feeling of I'm almost going to die, experiences of jumping out of a gondola in the middle of Switzerland between Swiss Alps and getting to the bottom and you can just hear the sound of cows as you're about to touch the water. Then you've got the once in a lifetime experiences that you do it once and you would never need to do it again. A number of categories. How do you decide in all of the different things which are the type of experiences that you want to choose from? So for everybody who's like, I love this concept of experience economy, let me think about how to incorporate it into what I'm doing. What are the experiences? I mean, you also get the ones that are not adrenaline junkie, but they are usually preserved for the elite, but now they're accessible. So maybe you can't own a Ferrari, but you can go and get on a Ferrari on a track for a day. How do you decide? And how do you sort of jump into the human brain and what tickles us?
So as a business, we want to give people unforgettable goosebump moments that transcend time. That's our purpose. That's why we get up. So, we might be doing, next month, 6th of September in Durban, we've got an amazing event with Shimza called Shimza and Friends. It's one night. It's an incredible night out. How do we deliver unforgettable goosebumps there? Well, we've dialed down many things that something like the Marble Circus might have. The food is just what you need and fairly simple. The bathrooms are available, adequate, spotless. Entrance is quick and easy. Where's all the investment gone? Stage. Because that experience for us is probably not once in a lifetime, but we want to give you a night out that you'll never forget so you come back every single year. So that's how we thought about that event. The Luxurious Marble Circus is a whole different genre on its own. And I'm glad you spoke about wanting to give back, because this is something, I don't want to say it's new in our business, but at the scale we're doing it, it's new. The Luxurious Marble Circus story is about leaving a legacy beyond luxury. And what we're finding is this was something that was inspired by Investec. It was part and parcel of their negotiation with us. They're big on philanthropy. And they said the only way we sponsor your festival is if you guys do something in the purpose world. And
I'm so happy to hear that, because I'm all about that, because you can't walk into a space and completely ignore the realities that are being faced. And I outside of the fact that, yes, there are benefits to CSI or CSR benefits to businesses, you can tell when businesses are doing it to tick boxes, and you can tell when they really are doing it.
Totally. And I hope that, the communication's only really starting now. Last year, we invested over 800,000 Rand into our Leaving a Legacy Beyond Luxury. We supported Marong House. We supported Holonati. We supported the National School of Arts, both with financial investment and the performers that got to perform. We did a lot in the recycling and sustainability space. But I don't want to say we were ticking a box. We were doing our best with a very short time frame and a brief from Investec, our passionate enabler, who said, you got to do it. We've now had the time to assess what we did and say, what do we really want to do here? And this idea of leaving a legacy beyond luxury is now spreading its tentacles like the roots of a tree into every last little piece of our festival. And I think it changes the game even on the commercials of the festival, because we're now making sure we raise funds from every stakeholder involved, whether they sort of know it or not, but in a way that feels natural. So our brand partners have to contribute. It's not a request, it's a requirement. But they're funding ideas that we've got. So like we've got a collaboration with Sealand to take the fence wrap panels we can't use because some sponsors changed this year. So those are going to get thrown away. Don't throw them away. Let's turn them into bags.
There we go.
But now, and then it's sell those bags and use the proceeds to invest into some of our legacy initiatives. The bags are expensive. It's 154,000 Rand minimum order quantity to make the bags. One of our brand partners has stepped up and said, we'll fund that. So now cost of sale zero. We sell those bags for 300,000 Rand. That goes into our pot. So we've got a pot that we're raising. And then our fans that are coming to the circus, our revellions, our extravagaires, all the fancy words we call them, are going to just do it by association. When you purchase our beautiful recycled cups to have a drink in, there'll be a story on the back of that cup, and 5 Rand from that cup that you paid 15 Rand for. 10 Rand is what it cost us to get it. 5 Rand we've added on top. So, 80,000 Rand will most likely get raised from cups. 2.5% of all drinks. 5 Rand off every meal. So our guests are getting involved in legacy. So they will feel a part of it, and they will see it and feel it wherever they go. Recycling and sustainability, we are going to upcycle as much of the trash as we can. We're turning Don Julio bottles into gorgeous lamps, the most beautiful lamps you've ever seen, with edition numbers. The National School of Art students are involved. An engineering firm in PE of all places is helping us manufacture the internals for those lamps. And what I'm finding is making this part of the fabric of who we are and what this festival stands for and what our brand partners stand for, I think will change the game in terms of why people want to buy tickets for the event. And that's not the reason to do it, but I think it's an incredible byproduct that will just happen.
Indeed. We need to take a break. When we come back, we continue your questions. 072 702 and 702, the WhatsApp line. And you can call us 011 883 0702.
702 delivers
on the matters that matter to you.
Hi, this is Craig from Kempton Park. What an amazing experience, I must say, especially visiting, people behind the scenes. There's a lot of amazing people that we don't know about behind the scenes that's working very hard to serve you, the listener. Very, very impressed with everything that's going on. Fantastic studios, very professional setup, trendy, vibey. It epitomizes everything that this radio station does, and definitely it is the radio station for the people.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
so we can deliver more on what matters to you.
702 listens.
Let's walk the talk.
We love rating things, our phones, our cars, but our health? Your health lets you do what you love with the people you love. So who are you staying healthy for, and how can you improve your health? Choose Dis-Chem Life, the life cover that helps you live a healthier, more rewarding, longer life with regular health checks. Visit dischemlife.co.za now. Dis-Chem Life. Choose a better partner for life. Dis-Chem Life is an authorized FSP 50594, underwritten by Guard Risk Life, a licensed life insurer, FSP 76. T's and C's apply.
When you empower a woman, you empower a whole nation. Women have a remarkable way of multiplying whatever is placed in their hands. This August, we're celebrating Women's Month with the theme Building Resilient Economies for All. We reflect and honor the courageous women of 1956 who took a stand against the injustices of the past. We also recognize and celebrate all South African women who continue to lead, build, and inspire across every part of our society, from business and education to peace building and beyond. Yes, there is still much to be done. The pursuit to achieving total gender equality and empowerment will continue until every woman is able to enjoy the benefits of a safe and just society. #Rekaufela Basadi. #Women's Month 2025. A message by the National Department of Sport, Arts and Culture.
Dear Journal, trying to be an adult, day 3274. Every time I go to a fancy birthday dinner, I'm reminded I'm just 5 fancy birthday dinners away from financial ruin. Note to self, don't make any more born in June friends.
Recently removed from the family payroll? Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's like 570 Rand a month, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insurer Limited, licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
702
Masterclass.
As we close off our masterclass on the experience economy with Greg Walsh, CEO of G&G Productions, the Goosebumps Company, 011 883 0702, and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. Greg, in terms of what you think we are missing from experiences in the country, what could you share in that regard? There's a message which is saying, all these experiences are well and good, but they're just accessible to such a small part of the population. How could we make experience something that's more accessible? So not necessarily at an event level. It could even maybe be in schools. Would you have any thoughts about that? Because I genuinely think we meet ourselves. We get closer to knowing who we are with different experiences that we have in life, whether they scare you, whether they excite you, you come out another version of yourself.
So I think it's a great point. You know, experiences cost a lot of money, especially if they're good ones. So, you know, what stands between us and incredible experiences in South Africa? One, I suppose some good ideas, but two, money. So with the absence of money, it's very hard for anybody to have great experiences. The idea that, you know, how do we get more people these types of experiences? I think this is where brands have an incredible opportunity to show up and to drive change. Because ultimately, big business, if they really want to invest it, can find big money. And experiences of this level take big money to make. And where brands have the opportunity, you know, you say, well, a brand could invest all their money on some fantastic consumer-facing activation for the people who could already afford it. Wonderful, great. There will be a certain achievement in doing that. Can brands take an environment that is more affordable and completely elevate it? They sure can as well. And I think some brands have done some amazing things. You know, we conceptualized for BMW 8 years ago already, the BMW M Festival. Those tickets were 180 Rand for a festival that was costing tens of millions of rands. And I think the fact that the brand was co-funding it allowed people who otherwise probably couldn't afford to go to an experience of that quality the opportunity to do something really extraordinary. So I think there's a place for brands to play here to bring those experiences to people. You know, on a small scale, we do bring them to schools. Just 2-3 weeks ago was Mandela Day.
Yes.
We took an amazing experience to the children of Sparrows School, just near Parktown North. We had a show for them. We brought little fields of the luxurious marble circus. Again, we do what we can, but you know, we're, I want to say, relatively speaking, I like to think of myself as a big business, but we're a small business, truth be told.
Yes.
And there's a limit to what we can do. So I think big business has a great opportunity to win by making experiences like this more accessible.
Greg Walsh, thank you so much for your time. We do have to wrap it up because we are, yes?
One thing you have to allow me. Your 40th is coming.
Yes.
We have an amazing experience called the Golden Ticket area at the Luxurious Marble Circus. You cannot buy the tickets. For your birthday, can I please give you a golden ticket for you and a friend to come?
Would I say no? No, I would not. I accept. And we need to go to a break. Thank you so much, Greg.
Celebrate Women's Month in style with Hollywood Bets and Spinner Zonke. Take fearless shots at fantastic fortunes with our special selection of fierce female-themed games. Kick back, relax, and entertain yourself with the ultimate slot escape. Let Heart of Rio put you in a carnival mood. Indulge in anime fantasy with 9 Tails, or embark on fire-breathing adventures in Dragon Kingdom. Supercharge your slots and bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008.
It's more than shelves and titles. It's a space to get lost, to learn, to breathe. A great bookshop isn't just about what's on the shelves. It's about how it makes you feel, whether it's the quiet corners, the perfect recommendations, or the staff who know your taste better than you do. Some places turn browsing into a beautiful escape. If there's a local shop that's done just that, now's your chance to say, I see you. Nominate your favorite for Gauteng's greatest bookshop at primemediaplus.com, because Gauteng isn't just the hub of business, it's the home of excellence, and excellence deserves your applause. Gauteng's greatest awards with 702, powered by Yoko. Let Yoko counter. Fuel your business to greatness. Go to yoko.com to explore the new point of sale solution, saving hundreds of businesses time and money.
At the heart of global conversations shaping our future, Africa's voice is more important than ever. As proud lead sponsor of the B20, the Standard Bank Group is honored to showcase the continent's growth, partnerships, and potential on the world stage. Because driving Africa's growth isn't just our ambition, it's our purpose. Tune in every Monday from 3 p.m. for the Standard Bank B20 in brief for key insights and updates around the B20. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're back tomorrow, primemediaplus.com for podcasts. It's 3 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Gayton McKenzie takes the legal route in a fight against podcasters, and citizens share their views on the state of the country with 702. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Zamini. Patriotic Alliance leader Gayton McKenzie plans to sue podcasters who made disparaging comments about the coloured community in an episode posted on their social media platforms. McKenzie has instructed legal minds in the party to submit a report to him by this evening on the steps that can be pursued. While the Open Chats podcast team has apologized for their remarks and removed the discussion from the episode, McKenzie says this is not enough. The DA has meanwhile already reported the podcast to the Human Rights Commission. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
In a video message to party supporters before attending today's cabinet meeting, Patriotic Alliance leader Gayton McKenzie says the remarks made against the coloured community can't be allowed to go unchallenged. The podcasters refer to the coloured community as crazy and allege that incest is common.
I want us to use everything at our disposal. It's racism. We must never allow people to become that comfortable. If we have to say that about other races, we would have been on every front page.
In an apology, the Open Chats team say the coloured community is a big part of its audience and it never intended to cause harm nor disrespect. It says the podcast is known for touching on sensitive topics, but that it does not support or promote racism or discrimination. But McKenzie's forging ahead.
We are going to go after them in their personal capacity legally. We're going to go after the show.
He says he will inform PA members tonight of the possible course of legal action to be taken. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
The ANC says government should not give in to pressure from foreign countries to reverse some of its transformation policies like broad-based black economic empowerment. It comes on the back of the US slapping South Africa with a 30% tariff on all its exported goods starting from tomorrow. US President Donald Trump has previously criticized the Expropriation Act while he falsely claims it has led to government seizing land from white farmers. At a media briefing today, ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula says the party's National Executive Committee has reaffirmed its commitment to the country's transformation laws.
The NEC is particularly resolute that South Africa will not be coerced into reversing its progressive economic transformation agenda or compromising its sovereignty under the guise of opportunistic foreign pressures.
Mbalula also criticized the DA's response to the US tariffs debacle.
The Democratic Alliance reaction to the minister's announcement exposes a mindset that is out of touch with the aspirations of South African people. Their reckless calls for deregulation and abandonment of broad-based black economic empowerment are a direct affront to the principles of the Freedom Charter.
In the courts now, a survivor of the 2024 Lusikisiki massacre has broken down while testifying in the mass-killing trial in the Eastern Cape. The mother of Ruth King, who was killed in that shooting, took to the witness stand in the Mthatha High Court sitting in Lusikisiki today. She was also inside the house when the shooting incident took place. 6 men are on trial for the massacre, facing charges including murder, kidnapping and robbery with aggravating circumstances. Nhlanhla Mabaso reports.
The mother of one of the victims has detailed her only daughter's final moments and the brutal manner she was killed during the September 2024 massacre. State prosecutor advocate Relebogile Mabotja led evidence from the witness. She told the court that before the gunmen stormed into her home, the victim sang worship songs and held a short